Today, I will tell a story about mother's love is like a lamp. When I was young, the island we lived on was isolated, frequently hit by natural disasters. My grandparents were old and sick, and they passed away one after another. My parents had to take care of my two siblings and me. My father worked tirelessly, and my mother did all she could, but our lives were always... My mother spent her days waiting, knowing that most of the time it was in vain. Her face was etched with deep wrinkles, her small frame seemed frail, and her sparse white hair fluttered in the wind. From a distance, she looked like a statue, reminiscent of the stone of the watching wife by the sea. Except she was watching for her children. She was like the small oil lamp in our home, burning its last bit of oil. Neighboring women, like Bigfoot Grandma and Aunt Sue, along with passersby. My mother had poor eyesight and would often cry when facing the wind. Aunt Stu would often tell me, "Isn't it strange? Even though my eyes are fine, I never see you coming from the dock, but your mother always knows when you're back." My mother would say, "A mother has a heart lamp that always shines on her children." I knew this was her maternal intuition, sensing her child's presence. Every time I came home, my mother wanted to cook something nice for me, but in her later years, she could no longer make decent meals. She would make dumplings, sometimes preparing the filling as soon as I left, so it would be ready for my next visit. When I ate them, they were often too salty or bitter, but eating them made her so happy. I knew that this was her way of expressing love in her old age. As children, if we love our mothers deeply, we must accept their love tenderly, even if it's in a modest or insignificant form. The saddest moments for my mother in her later years were when I came home, only to leave again. She wanted to hold on to these brief moments of family joy, even though she knew it was a luxury. In her final years, I returned home as often as I could, sometimes staying just overnight. Each farewell was a blow to her spirit. The most heart-wrenching sight was her eyes during these goodbyes, as full of hope and sadness, trying to hold back tears. At night, lying beside her, she would cautiously ask if I was leaving the next day, and I couldn't bear to tell her. My silence was enough, and she would go quiet, her heart trembling. One time, inside, 2 days earlier, while gathering grass for cooking, she had twisted her ankle. She didn't tell us, afraid we'd worry. She tried to treat it with hot water but ended up scalding herself, causing blisters and a severe infection. I was distraught. My helpless and pained mother, even in her old age. This heavy memory has always stayed with me. In her final days, plagued by illness, my mother reluctantly stayed with my sister for treatment, but returned to her home. When she passed away, we lit a small oil lamp by her side, made from a bowl and a cotton wick for eternal light for the departed. This was the last lamp she had by her side, one she didn't need to worry about for her children. I kept adding oil to ensure it wouldn't go out. Watching the flickering flame, I couldn't control my tears, calling out to her, feeling the weight of her lifelong sacrifices. On the day of her burial, I cleaned the eternal light and placed it in her grave. She took that lamp with her, embarking on her final journey. She was gone forever, but her virtues of hard work, frugality, sincere dedication, kindness, wisdom, and relentless pursuit of a better future will remain with me always. The light of a mother's love will forever illuminate my heart.